Alright, hi guys, my name is Oxapana. I help run the Zone Control Discord, and today I am analyzing a replay in the hopes of showcasing a fundamental concept, which is about tanks. How are you going to push tanks against a team that is ahead of you, and how do you come back from a lane that you have completely lost? This is hopefully the start of a brand new series in which I just analyze replays that I find interesting or I find helpful to learn from. So in this game, it is me Young Caucasian versus Mosaic and Anna Bumcover, who is pretty sure an Otacon Smurf, and Darren in the Mr. X in top left. Then we have Lace with Ace and Catch in the bottom left. So this laning phase, so when we start the game, the laning phase, you can see I'm already in last place. This laning phase was really rough for me. I fell behind incredibly quickly, nobody wanted to take a fight, and I took a couple bad engagements. My ally, however, did really well, and that is a very important thing. It doesn't matter if you fall behind in lane, as long as your ally is strong enough to make do with it and snowball off that lead. Because then you can transition into tanks, which you will see I do in this game. So my ally is forced to nuke due to us taking a aggressive engagement, overstretching our limits and overextending into the enemy territory while having no scouting units in the bottom left. Here I'm trying to bring my nuke over to see if he's expanding. He's not expanding, instead we just get collapsed on, lose our armies again, and like I said, this is a very rough early game for me. And my ally, even though he's in first place or in second place, we're still struggling. We constantly have low supply. We can't even deny this bunker from blue, so it's going to get up. So at this point, we both have units, or we both have enough for a bunker. And at this point in the game, my course of action, my plan for this game is to build Reapers and try to go for mass tanks, or try to build tanks. The reason why you go for Reapers when you're building tanks is because you can retire your Marine bunker, and even though you're gonna have bad upgrades, mass Reapers can still be viable even into the late game, as long as your ally is strong enough to hold their army. So here we force out a nuke from top right. By trying to go into the Rotter bunker and try to cancel it. We're not going to cancel it, but the nuke is good enough so that we know that if we ever do tank push them, we're going to be even in nukes. This is a very important thing to understand. You can't really push into a team that has nuke superiority unless they play bad and waste their nukes. So here we see I'm in last place. I'm trying to get some feed off of Green, who is now marking this Marauder's bunker, so I can still take decent engagement, get some good feed. So here we see because we had a rough early game, we are playing incredibly defensively, but this also means that we can get a lot of feed if we play this correctly. You can see my rallies are constantly behind my units, or my rallies are behind my bunkers so that they don't pop out in blue's face, which just gives them a lot of easy feed. So here you see I am able to trade well against Green because he's not working his Marauder bunkers and I have a decent attack. And so let's just fast forward a bit. This is just a standard trading game. I keep losing my army because at this point I am saving for a tank. And occasionally blue and green push into our base, we get some good feed. So I'm just gonna fast forward a bit until I start building my tank. Oh, this is bad here. So, alright. So this is one of the problems of being weak, is that if you take a bad engagement, you can almost instantly die here. So, for example, here we push into blue, kill his army. Teal comes along with his Marauders and just what cleans up the rest of our armies here. And they push in and they're gonna die straight into this bunker here. Now I should have spent money to upgrade here. I got 1-1, which was really careless. Oh shoot, sorry. So this SCV here, you see this SCV, it is imperative that I kill this SCV if I want to keep my bunker alive. I bring my SCV over and so does my ally. Or yeah, we both bring our SCVs over and we snipe the SCV from blue. So we hold the fight and now we're repairing our SCVs, and because of that failed dive on the top right, I have almost enough for a tank. So, yep, got the tank building. And this game is starting to look like a 4v2 scenario on the top right, because if you look at the scoreboard, you see that dark green and yellow both left, which means that light green and orange are playing this game solo. So we see as soon as I able to tank, I'm going straight for the sensor tower. You always want a sensor tower. It is absolutely imperative. Not just because you want to defend from snipes, but also because if you want to collaborate and time your pushes with the other teams, you need a sensor to see when they're pushing, when they're diving, when they're going all in. So we cancel the third bunker from blue, which is really good, really helpful, which means that blue is on 2 bunkers here. So we're gonna go for the push. So this is really good here. When you're trying to push but you don't want to siege up because they have a nuke, use the unsiege mode from the tank. Use the arc light cannon. It just pushes their army back since it one-shots every units, and it is really useful for pushing your armies back when you still want to do that. So we see that I am not pushing my tank at all. The reason why is because I see in a sensor in the mini map, I see light green in middle, and now that I see him actually pushing, I'm going to push my tank. So I see, yeah, we see teal coming in, and I instantly use my nuke. Now, even though I have 0 nukes, this guarantees we kill the bunker, which is more important than saving our nukes here. When you're trying to kill the team and you're low and you're behind and you don't know if you can do damage to them and they're collapsing on you, just nuke first. Especially if you cast your SCV with your nuke, it's just so useful, especially in pubs when you need to do damage quickly and fast. So here we see I overextend my tank, and I realize this almost immediately. I leave my armor behind. A few seconds to delay their army so that I can get my tank safely home. And here we're diving into this bunker here. I bring my tank over, but I decide it's not. But I decide to wait until light green pushes. Again, I see him in ascent. Because I saw light green in the sensor tower pushing right here, I bring my tank over almost immediately to support him, and he ultimately gets the kill. And it guarantees the bunker is dead, which again, super useful, super important. It weakens top right even more. Now they definitely cannot hold this 6v2 or 4v2. So we see that light green switches on the top left. And I'm under the impression that top right that teal still has 2 bunkers here. If you look at the map, he only has 1 bunker, yeah. So they are on 1 bunker each. But I still cannot push into this because teal has so many marauders in his army still. And they still have a nuke. So here, yeah, I'm just using my arc light cannon, just killing unit by unit here. When they have 1 bunker resupply each, it doesn't really matter. So here we see that light green is trying to trade with pink. He sees that top right has no real... Top right is no longer in danger of winning, so he uses the time to trade with pink, my ally, and try to get some fees since they're both really low on his score. Now he does need to be careful to not let top right rebuild too quickly. So if you notice, I'm saving 2.2 thousand minerals. The reason why is to build, when you want to get a second tank, the best way to do it is to wait until you have enough money to build the depot, upgrade it, and then build the tank all in one go. And the magic number is 2.3k minerals. That's exactly how much. Now, you obviously want to build it a little bit earlier since you're assuming you're gonna get money while you're waiting for the depot to build, which is what happens here. I built it around 100 minerals early, and I got the rest of my money through trading shortly afterwards. And this is really important because when you're hiding your strength from your enemy, from the other teams who want to switch on you, when you're hiding your strength from them, you want to wait until you have enough to just build everything in one go, especially if they don't scout you. That way you can quickly get stronger without them knowing it. So here we see I am pushing my tank, trying to get money with my arc light cannon. I can't push because light green is again trending with pink a lot, and I don't want to risk anything happening here. So we see we are building I'm going to cancel my sense tower here, but again, we're rebuilding our sense towers. Super important. We need to know what light green is doing. We need to be able to push with light green here. That is one of the most important things you can do when you're pushing the tank, is coordinate with the other teams here. If you're pushing your tank and they are not pushing through middle, or they're not pushing their side, you're going to get collapsed on, you're going to get killed. You need them to keep the pressure up so that you're only facing one of them, or you force out the nuke, or you force out turrets or something. So here we see I'm just keeping my tank back, and I decide let's go for a scout. Since light green is trying to cancel this water bunker, let's go for a scout here. And I see he has the tank building right there, and I see he only has a few bunkers, so he's no real big threat here. So I'm pretty confident in my chances here. I'm pretty confident in my chances in my ability to defend. The problem is that it looks like he is going for a full switch while top right is still rebuilding. And top right will still stomp us if we kill light green here. So we need him alive. We need him to understand that we need to hit top right here. He sees blue pushing, he sees blue's rebuilds, and now he goes back on a hard command on the top right, which is good. So we see again. So you notice that I'm trying not to show my second tank to light green, but I am more than willing to show it to top right. This is again hiding your strength to the other teams, while using that to your advantage against the stronger team, or the team you're trying to kill here. And again, you see me saving money here, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a depot outside the range of our base, and then I'm going to use that to instantly get a third tank up. I don't care if that other depot dies, as long as I get the third tank up. That's what matters. So now you see we have a much more optimized sensor tower placement. We have one in the corner here, seeing all the way to like my second marine bunker, so we are well aware if he decides to switch or to scout or anything. And on the other side we have a sensor tower over here, so we can see up to their spot as well, so we know when they're hitting top left, we know where they're going because of their rally. If you're only going to have one sensor tower, you want to place it in this little spot right here, because that gives you, lets you see all the way up to here, and up to here. But this is just much more optimized, since you see further on both sides, which is really important, since you can see their rallies, which gives you a better idea of who they're hitting and where they're going. So if we go back, so now I see that once again the 4v2 is on top right. Another important thing to note that I've been neglecting to mention is shield towers. Tanks benefit from shield towers. They gain +6 armor from shield towers. This is incredibly good, and also it helps your army survive a lot more. That +6 armor is absolutely huge. The value it gives is enormous. It gives you just those few extra seconds to hold, which is usually enough to just completely win the fight. So here we see I'm trying to push my tanks, but I don't want to commit so far. So now I'm committing. So we see I am pushing the tanks here, and this is a mistake. My army is too close to my allies. It should be over here, or my allies should be further up. The reason why is because they can easily nuke the center here and get half of both of our armies, or they can just nuke Caucasian's army instead. And we see that happen here. Yeah. So they kill pretty much both of our armies, and that is an instant siege by me, moving my tanks back. And now we see they have their own tank as well, which is incredibly useful information. So we see we're throwing our own turrets, and notice we're not blocking the tanks at all. This is something that happens so many times with people, and it happens to me too. It happens to everybody when you're pulling your tanks back. Is your units will often get in the way. Look at how our units are on the side dealing damage to their units, while our tanks have free coverage, and our SCV is trailing behind the tanks to repair them as they go along. We're also throwing turrets in the meantime to block their advance. This is how you retreat tanks. And again, you see my tanks coming back with their arc light cannon. We zero out Blue's army, and now we know top right has no nukes. We see both their SCVs here; they have no nukes. So again, recap on what just happened here. When you're retreating your tanks, which is right here. When you're retreating your tanks, you wanna throw turrets in front of behind your tanks. You want your SCVs to be repairing the tanks. And you want your army to be on the side here, giving your tanks a clear passage of escape. And yeah, that's pretty much how you're supposed to deal when you get nuked. Now a lot of times, the enemy army is just a bit too much and they just kill your tank. It's fine if they kill one tank, as long as you still have your own tank, or as long as you're still strong enough to push and make money. This gets especially hard with the more tanks you have, and when you're pushing more tanks, when you both have a lot of army supply, it can be hard to get the tanks away. So you want to be able to micro part of your army out and under to again create that corridor for your tanks to escape, because they do have obnoxious unit collision. So here we see that light green is again keeping the pressure on the blue here. This is so important. We don't push until we know the pressure is being put on. Since we know orange is also in the game and he is also putting pressure here, we know that we can safely push. Since he's not getting pushed back, that means orange is doing his job, so there's pressure on all sides, which means we can push our tanks freely and with impunity. So we go ahead and kill the bunker here, and we no longer need to worry about getting nuked here since they don't have any nukes. A really important thing here is that as a tank player, you still need to be checking the upgrades, you still need to be checking the enemy supply and your supply compared to those. If we look at the upgrades here, we see when I push these tanks, we see blue has 1821. As soon as I see him fight pink, I instantly pull back my tanks as I know that is a losing fight. And if I keep my tanks there, he will turn and kill them instantly. Again, we do have enough supply that if we were to both commit together, we can push back his army regardless. But it is something to note, is to know your army strength versus their army strength. And if you know that you're going to lose the battle, don't risk getting your tanks encircled and turn, just pull them back. You can play safe, you can be safe, take your time, especially in this kind of scenario when you know they are cornered and unable to build out. And especially when you know the other teams are strong enough to keep top right at bay. So now we see their tank was pushed forward and it wasn't pulled back. This is a mistake here. You see turrets are already queued up. You see dotted green is already pushing them out. And we instantly go in all at once to dive the tank. As soon as and this is again the power of the sensor tower. If it wasn't for this sensor tower, we would not have been able to see that blue was defending another spot and that their tank was overextended. And you see we instantly pounce on this. My tanks are sieged up but just in range so that they can also hit the bunker as well, as you see right there. So we instantly dive the tanks, and now we're focusing the bunker since there's nothing they can do about this now. Light green is hitting, we have enough supply, and we can kill the tanks. This is a concept where you're using the minimap and your awareness of the game to pounce on any advantage you can gain by diving onto it. You need to be decisive when you're making these kinds of plays. Like again, when you see this play, you see we both queue our turrets immediately. Our SCVs are already there. We have the tanks already going. We know they don't have a nuke, so we are free to make this play. This is Teal not respecting us and not pulling his tank back behind the bunker. But even then, we still could have been able to dive it anyway as soon as we saw light green push because we have enough supply together. So we kill the tank, and then we kill the bunker. And this means top right is effectively neutered. They're basically dead. And we see the Light Green realizes this and goes somewhere else soon. So now I pull my tanks back because I'm not sure what happens next. Light Green saw the bunker die, he saw the tank die. If he switches on us, I don't want my tanks to be over here still pushing while he's killing the Rotter bunker. Since now we have to wait for the tanks to get back so we don't get dived on while we're trying to defend the bunker. So you see here, I had enough money to expand my depot, and I'm doing that, and I'm gonna instantly call down the tank. Now I have 3 tanks. I don't need to worry about building more depots since I don't care if this one gets killed. I just need to get my 3rd tank up. This is another thing when you're the tank person is that when you're in your 3x3 and you haven't expanded out yet, when you want to get another tank, just do this. Just save your money to 2.3k or 2.2.5k or whatever. Build your depot, upgrade it, instantly build your tank. That way, if your depot dies, it's no real big issue here. So again, and I decided to go for another scout to see how strong or weak Light Green actually is here. So I know if we can go for a switch. I see he still has his tank here. And I see he's expanded all the way there. And I see Orange's upgrades. I see Orange's 10-15. Which is weaker than Light Green is. What we see right here? Yeah, 12-15. Actually, no, they have similar upgrades. Light Green has better upgrades, so he has better range and better armor. So I've done my scout. I know that Light Green he's strong enough to make a difference, but if he makes a mistake, he'll lose the game. And we see Orange only has 3 bunkers here, lots of depots. We see that he killed Teal. And now my tanks are instantly moving to the bottom side, ready to make a play on Light Green, ready to snipe him. I know our win condition is that we are the stronger team. Light Green is the only major threat to us. Orange only has 3 bunkers. We have 3 tanks. He will almost immediately fall over and die. So my win condition is either to switch early onto Light Green, or to kill Blue and then go from there. So you saw I changed my tanks over to hit Blue. The reason why is because I saw in my sensor tower, I see that Orange and Light Green are trading. And I use this to my advantage to just instantly try to snipe Blue. Now this is a mistake. I should have brought my tanks over. I didn't know how much they were committed to fighting each other though. Like you see here, I hesitate my tanks as I see Light Green moving. This game, as a tank player, your eyes should be almost glued to the minimap, just seeing where the enemy movements, what they're doing, are they going to hit you.
Our allies are being attacked.
So we see, yeah, my tanks pull back right around here, because I see Light Green is not doing, I don't know what Light Green is doing. Then when I see him moving up to hit Orange, I know it's completely safe now to kill Blue. And he does have 2 turrets. So this is the important thing. So you see me focusing a bunker here while Blue is turreting. As soon as I realize his army is starting to lose supply, I immediately shift the focus back to his army. And you see, I shift the focus back to his army and to his turrets to kill those. You see, I am trading focus. I'm trading focus between army, bunker, turrets, bunker. Because I want to kill Blue as quickly as possible, but I don't want to risk losing my tank in the process. And I know I can't risk wasting time by killing Blue without tanks, especially when I see that Orange and Light Green are fully trading. They're in the thick of it. They're tunnel vision onto each other, giving us the free range to kill Blue off. So again, I'm using my tanks here, and I'm hard focusing Blue's bunker, trying to kill him as quickly as I possibly can. And here, I don't need the money. I give the money to my ally by bringing it down to 1,000 health and then sieging my tanks up so that my ally gets the kill for free. and then I bring my tanks all the way back since I know that was blue's last bunker, and my ally goes and finishes him off. And since I see that light green is still just completing the thick of it, I bring my tanks over, bring my armory over, I ping my ally to come hit light green, and now I'm immediately coming over. Since light green was trading with orange, I am almost confident in this game that orange is still tunnel vision onto light green, and he won't realize the immediate danger that is us bottom right with our 3 tanks, because even though pink is in the same score as the others, I'm still in the equation with my 3 tanks. If I wasn't in this game, this would probably go on for another 20 minutes. So here I pull back since while I am trying to end the game and kill light green as quickly as I possibly can, I don't want to kill my armor by doing so. We see orange is sitting back, building a second marauder bunker. Here, I go ahead, I siege my tanks, get 1 volley off, pull him back, unsiege him just a bit, because I saw that light green push his entire army in. Once I see that his army gets eviscerated, this game is over. This game is over. His army is dead. Orange is sitting back, giving us the time to kill light green. And at this point, he decides to throw the game, which is a bit shitty, but orange hits him anyway, so it doesn't really matter at this point. And from here, we just win the game almost instantly. So, what did we learn from that replay? For one, when you're pushing the tank, you need to be aware of nukes. Use your tanks in the arc light cannon mode, the unsieged mode, so they can still get feed without sieging your tanks. When your tanks are sieged, you need to be aware of the possibility of nukes in your army getting surrounded. So you need to be careful with your army spacing and your turret placement so that you don't get nuked. Secondly, when you do get nuked and your armies are dead, if your armies are not spaced apart correctly like mine was, you need to quickly have your SCVs at least nearby to throw turrets onto the enemy. And make a clear corridor for your tanks to escape. The enemy most likely will be hard focused on the tanks and won't kill your army, so you'll be getting lots of free shots off. Thirdly, use the sensor towers and use the minimap. Don't push your tanks until you know the other teams are committed somewhere else. Even in a normal 2v2 situation, you want to have sensor towers up and eyes on the minimap to see whether they're going for snipes or whether they're going to switch or whether there's going to be a temporary 3v2 onto the other team. And the last thing is sensor tower placement is incredibly important. If you only have 1 sensor tower, you want to put it in this square. We see with the sensor tower, we get vision all the way up to their to their natural Reaper expansion. If we place it in the middle here, we get access to this one as well. This is enough range to see the SCVs building it, but it doesn't go much further. A more optimized sensor tower placement will be either on this corner or this corner, and same thing here on this corner or this corner. That way you actually see into their natural expansions, which gives you a better idea into their rallying, and you know more about their expansions from there on out. And I believe that is everything I have to tell you guys. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you learned something today, and I hope to make this a series with more replay showcasing different things. This is focusing about how to initiate a tank push. Maybe I'll do one about how to defend a tank push as well. Thank you guys so much.